Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Today we have an all new round of speed reviews. So I'm going to be ranking all of the new products I tried in the month of July. So July was a bit of a crazy month. Overall, I'm glad it's done. It was one of those months where absolutely nothing went my way, but there was a lot of fun and interesting makeup that came out, and I feel like we're starting to see more eyeshadow palettes, which also makes me very excited. And there are some products that I haven't even had a chance to talk about on camera, so I will definitely be sharing those today as well. So let's hop into it. There are 17 products to talk about. There are some that I tried very close to the end of the month that are going to be rolled into August because I haven't had enough time to try them as many times as I would like. So let's get into it. Coming in at number 17 is from L'Oreal. This is their Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Highlighter. So I love the bronzer in this line. I love the foundation in this line. The blushes aren't a favorite. The blushes are way too pigmented. This is their highlighter, and this is in the shade Icy Gold. So I believe this is the very lightest one, and I just do not like this. The shade, first of all, you can see it's got like a gold shift, but it ends up to me looking more yellow, and that's just not what I'm going for. I don't love that this is the lightest one, and it really doesn't work for me, and I just don't love the formula. It's dry, it has a slight chalky feel to it, and I find it to be quite subtle, which is not something that I normally have an issue with, but I feel like this looks like it's supposed to be a really blinding highlight, and it's just not. So I haven't been able to get along with this. I've been trying so many times, but I just can't love this one. So unfortunately, this one is number 17. Number 16 is a product that I feel like caused a lot of stir. And this is not a product that I think is bad makeup, but I have it near the bottom for a few reasons. This is the Pat McGrath Eyeshadow Quad in Opalescent Orchid. So this palette I was very excited about. It's very pretty. The shades in here are beautiful. What bothered me about this collection was that a lot of the products in the collection were re-promotes. But she did release 2 eyeshadow quads. The first quad is Nirvana Nectar. Now that quad, 3 of those shades were taken from Jeweled Temptation from holiday 2023, so they were recycled shades. And the one shade that wasn't from that palette was more of like an icy white, so it's something that you're able to get in kind of any eyeshadow palette. This one was definitely more exciting because this is some colors, some bright pops that we've kind of been wanting from Pat McGrath for quite a long time. Now this palette retails for $56 US or 76 Canadian. That price point has been pretty standard for Pat McGrath quads for many years. The problem is that this quad is actually cardboard. It's not her acrylic plastic packaging that we all know and love that really leads to that luxurious experience and that really kind of supports the price point. And then the shades are pretty. I think the formulas in here are lovely, but this is also her made in the US formula that comes in her holiday palettes. So while it's not a bad formula, and you can definitely create some pretty looks with this quad, there is nothing about this that is luxury. And Pat McGrath as a luxury brand, I feel like is sort of falling off that because of things like this. Now, I don't know what goes on with the brand. I have no idea what goes into marketing and things like that, but I just feel like if you don't really have anything new and exciting to put out, just don't. Put all of that focus into the motherships that we love so much, and then maybe a holiday collection. I just don't think we need these smaller collections throughout the year that are in this cardboard packaging with the holiday formula with the same price point as her other luxury products. So for that reason, I did rank this a little bit lower. I do think the shades in here are very, very pretty. I really love to play with this white shade. This pink shade is a really pretty shade for all over the lid. This teal teal is really nice as well. These shades are a little bit more on the sheer side, particularly the teal and the white. Her holiday formula is not a bad formula, but it's not a luxury formula, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If you want this, there is nothing wrong with that, but do wait for a sale because it isn't worth the price that she's currently charging for this, but it's pretty enough. Okay, coming in at number 15 is actually a brow pencil. I don't normally have a lot of brow pencils in my rankings, but I did change my hair this month, so I did want to get a more auburn brow pencil just to add that warmth to my brows and kind of make everything seem a little more pulled together. It is very, very hard for some reason to find an auburn kind of red brow pencil. I do not know why that is. I don't understand. But I did end up finding one at the drugstore, and this is from Revlon. This is their Color Stay Brow Pencil in the shade 215 Auburn. So this does have a really nice spoolie on the end. It is one of those larger tips, so you fill in the brows a little bit quicker. And while I love the shape of it, while I love the color, because I really do love this shade, what I can't stand is how creamy this pencil is. It is so, so creamy. I feel like I don't have the control that I want with my brow pencil. The brows are quite a small feature, so it's nice to be able to have a little bit of control and precision with your brow pencil. So while I think this is not a terrible option, I think it's fine. I love the price point. The spoolie is really good quality. The size of the pencil is really nice if you don't need those really precise brush strokes. And the shade is perfect. It's so creamy. I just don't have the control that I want, and I feel like I have to be a lot more careful when I put this on my brows and then I brush it through, because I feel like it can easily just go everywhere. And that's just not what I want from my brows. So I feel like I end up spending a little bit more time cleaning up around my brows after I've done them. So for that reason, this one is ranking lower. I probably wouldn't purchase this one again, but I might if I can't find a nice auburn pencil, because the shade really is perfect. Coming in at number 14 is a powder I tried from Rare Beauty. This is their tinted pressed finishing powder. So I do like a finishing powder. These can be so, so nice to just sort of put all over the face as a finishing step to kind of melt everything together. And I don't necessarily love the shape of this packaging. A round compact would have been fine, but the price point on this is really nice. I have the shade Porcelain, and this is almost too deep. This is the lightest shade they have, but it's almost too deep once you add it on. So I have used this both as a setting powder and a finishing powder. I do think it is nicer as a finishing powder, as the name would suggest, but it does work really nicely under the eyes. The only thing I don't like is that it is a little bit deeper than I would like for under my eyes. I'm just very, very fair, so I expected the Porcelain shade to work for me, and it seems to darken my under eyes a little bit, so I don't love that. All over the face, it looks quite nice. I will say it does not get along with the foundation that I'm wearing today. So I can see where it has sunk directly into my pores right here. So that is kind of points against the powder and the foundation in my opinion, but this is fine. It does not touch my Givenchy, so I tried this quite a few times. I'm wearing it today, but I did try it quite a few times, and then I immediately went back to my other powder because I like it so much more. So this is fine, but I don't think it's a need. It's just not my overall favorite. Coming in at number 13 is from Dior, and this is their Dior Forever Skin Contour Stick. Now, this one is interesting because I don't dislike this product. This is in the shade 01 Light, so this is the lightest one they have. I do think the packaging is beautiful. I love the matte black with their classic silver top. I like how it twists up. It's really, really nice. It's very creamy. It's very easy to blend. What I don't love is their shade range that only has 4 shades, because that's just not sufficient. This is also very, very pigmented, so you have to be careful. If you are as fair as I am, I do recommend just being very, very careful with this. I've tried applying this directly to the skin. I've also tried just taking it off the stick with a brush. That does work very well, so I do recommend that. But overall, this just isn't an absolute favorite for me, mostly just because of the shade range. I think it's nice, the packaging, the blend, everything. It's just that it's so pigmented and the lightest shade really isn't that light. So I just find that I'm always needing to be a little bit more cautious than I kind of want to be when I'm blending my bronzer. So it's not bad, they need a better shade range. Otherwise, the blendability is phenomenal with this product. It's really beautiful and easy to work with, and I think that if you are deeper than me, which almost everybody is, you might really like this. Coming in at number 12 is from Fenty Beauty, and this is their Traced Out Pencil Lip Liner. This is a really, really nice pencil. I like the packaging. I love the silver cap and the silver back here. The lettering is silver as well. I think that's really nice. It is a wooden pencil, so you can sharpen it. The shade of this is really pretty as well. I am wearing it today, and I think it's nice. What I don't love is that it is almost too creamy. So when it comes to lip liners, for me, I like something that isn't too dry, isn't too creamy. I want something that gives me the control and precision I want, that's creamy enough that it's comfortable to apply, but that is actually going to dry down and not budge. And I just find that this is a little bit too creamy and it will move. I have actually had products sort of bleed into lines outside my lips even when I'm wearing this. So I don't love that, and I think that's just because this is way too creamy, and it's also just not very long wearing for that reason. So while I love this, I think the shade is so pretty and I will definitely use this pencil. It's just that I don't think it's one that I'm going to reach for when I'm looking for a long wearing lip combo. Okay, from this point on, I love most of these products. Coming in at number 11 is also from Fenty Beauty, and this is their Gloss Bomb Stick in Is It Fussy? So I like the packaging on these. They're kind of like an acrylic packaging. You have the color on the inside, and then it's sort of encased in a clear capsule. And then you get this really pretty, super glossy lipstick. I would say this is definitely more pigmented than the actual lip gloss. This is definitely more of a lipstick. It does smell incredible, just like the Fenty lip glosses though. I absolutely love the smell of the gloss bombs and this. I think it's so nice. I'm also wearing this today over top of that Fenty lip liner. This has been one of my favorite rosy lip combos lately as well, so I think this is just stunning. But I do overall love how it looks on the lips. Like I said, it's very pretty, it's very shiny, it's very comfortable. It's not very long wearing, but I really didn't expect it to be. So I have really been enjoying this. I just kind of knocked it down because the other products this month have been absolutely top tier. Coming in at number 10 is from ColourPop. So this is a palette that's been around for quite a while at this point, but I only picked it up recently. This is their Smokin' Roses palette. So I do love their mega palettes for some reason, but this is the Smokin' Roses palette, so obviously a very, very pink color story. I feel like the last few months I've been very much into my pink shadows. If I deviate from the neutral browns, I do tend to go for pinks, purples, and greens. Those are my steps outside my comfort zone. I do love a good pink though. This palette has those pinky browns that everyone's tired of seeing, but that I will always, always love. And I do love this palette. The shimmers in here are so incredibly buttery and easy to work with. I always love the looks I get from this palette, and I've just been really enjoying it. I think when I first got this was the only palette I was reaching for quite a while. This is in my top 3 favorite ColourPop palettes at this point. So I did have to get this a mention. I think it's beautiful. I love reaching for this. I love using this. And it's definitely one of my favorite color stories. Coming in at number 9 is a lipstick formula that I tried out in one of the new Sephora favorites lip kits. I always love picking up their lip sets and kind of trying them all on. Those are just my absolute favorites. And in the most recent kit, there was one of the Kosas lipsticks in the shade Daydream. So this is in their square packaging. They do have their other lipsticks. I think it's called the Wet Stick or something like that. I don't like those because I find that they don't last at all. This is also a very creamy lipstick, but it does have a much longer wear time than the other ones. And this shade Daydream I thought was so beautiful. This is just a really beautiful, vibrant rose pink. It's so, so pretty, and I just love the way it looked with my eyes, I think is what I loved about it. So comfortable. It is a cream lipstick, so it's not the most long wearing, but it definitely wears longer than some of my other super creamy ones like the Fenty that I just mentioned, or the other Kosas formula. So I just think this is really, really pretty. A lot of this is based on how much I love this shade, but this formula is quite lovely. Coming in at number 8 is from Dior. So I definitely tried a lot of Dior this month. This is their Skin Perfect Face Stick in the shade 0N. So this is their new stick foundation. I love the packaging, the glossy black, the silver cap, and the silver lettering. I did mention in my review that I love how they did the contour stick all matte black so that you can kind of tell the difference a little easier in your makeup bag. Love that. I really do like this. So the shade 0N, this is actually what I'm wearing today. This shade is perfect for me. I do like this foundation stick. It's very, very easy to blend. It gives a light medium coverage. It really evens out the complexion. It wears all day long. It looks lovely on the skin. It's very, very comfortable. One thing I mentioned when I was doing my review and wear test was that I was wear testing this stick and I kept forgetting that I was wearing it. I kept forgetting that I was doing a wear test, and that definitely speaks to how lightweight this is. The only thing I will say about this is I am someone who has really dry skin. So I do recommend that if you do have dry skin to go in with a really hydrated base with this, because the first time I tried it, it looked really nice. I tried it a few more times after that, and I found each time there were certain spots that looked a little bit drier than others. And I think that might speak to my dry skin type. That's a little bit strange because it is summer. It is very humid here right now, so my skin really isn't fighting the dryness like it normally does, but I do know there are some areas that look a little bit drier. I also noticed when I stepped out into natural lighting, when I was doing my wear test, that this definitely did not blur texture like it kind of claims to. I found that I could still very much see the pores in the center of my face. So it's definitely not blurring, and I do think that this is going to be amazing on a normal skin type. I don't know if oily skin types are going to love this. Maybe. I would love to hear from you in the comments. If you have an oilier skin type and you have tried this, I would love to hear from you and your thoughts. I think this is really, really pretty. It's just that if you have dry skin, I would definitely go in with a hydrated base and perhaps a blurring primer. But otherwise, I love this. I love the convenience of it, and it does smell very fresh, which is interesting. I really do like this. It's just I definitely have to be mindful of my skin prep when I use it. Coming in at number 7 is from Too Faced, and this is the Aptly in Love eyeshadow palette. So I was really excited to see this from Too Faced. Definitely a little earlier than they normally release these palettes, but I don't mind. I was excited for this one because this is a return to their tin packaging. I love the packaging on this. This is, I think right now, only available on their website and Ulta. It's not yet at Sephora, at least not Sephora Canada, and it's not available anywhere in Canada yet. This is so nice. This does have an apple spice scent, which I don't actually love that much. It's just a little too strong for me, but the color story I really, really love. I love the apple orchard kind of theme. I love the color story. We definitely have those standard pinky browns. We do have these greens as well. We have some reds in here. The color story is very on theme with the palette, which is really exciting. I feel like they're not always the best about that, and this one is really nice. The greens in here I don't actually love as much. I wasn't as impressed with those. I just think it would have been a lot more helpful if maybe we omitted one of these pinks and had a deeper matte green that we could really work with. I think that would have been a lot more beneficial. But other than those greens, I think the formula in here is quite nice. I was really, really happy with it. It was very easy to work with. The mattes are incredibly buttery. The shimmers didn't seem as dry to me as the Too Faced shimmers sometimes are. So I was really, really happy with this overall. I feel like this is a little bit better than some of their past palettes in the tin packaging. I know their tin packaging does tend to have the best formulas, but there are some that definitely weren't that great. This one is really, really lovely, and I think if you were eyeing this one up, I would definitely recommend it. These do end up going on sale sometime in the fall, so I still would recommend saving yourself a little bit and picking it up then, but I definitely would recommend picking it up if you were thinking about it because it's a lovely palette and I really enjoyed it. This palette also got me to play with a red eyeshadow, which I never like, and I ended up absolutely loving the look I created with that red. So I thought that was impressive as well. Coming in at number 6 is another product from Dior, and this is one of their Rouge Blush Color and Glow duos. I have the shade Dior Vera. So this is a blush and highlight duo. So they came out with a bunch of these. Some of them are contour and highlight, some are blush and highlight. I was just really, really into this blush and highlight. This blush is really pretty. This is a gorgeous peachy pink, my standard everyday type blush. I do find that this blush formula is definitely a little bit more sheer. So I found that no matter how much I built this blush, I never ended up with clown cheeks, which was something that made me quite happy. That is never my goal, but I did want to see how much I could build it up. And you can to a point, but it's never going to be too intense. The highlighter I kind of went back and forth on because it definitely is glittery. It does have glitter particles in there and you will see them on the cheeks, but at the same time, it's somehow a more subtle highlight. So I have been really, really enjoying this. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful duo. It's a beautiful formula. I've really been loving it. I've used it quite a lot since I first tried it out, and I will of course continue to do so. I just think this blush is a perfect blush shade for me all year round, and I love that I don't have to worry about getting too much because I just went with this. So I think it's lovely. Coming in at number 5 is I think the most recent eyeshadow palette I tried out. This is their Artist to Go mini eyeshadow palette in Anywhere Caffeine. So they did release several different color stories of these. Only 2 of them are currently available on Sephora Canada. But this is the very, very neutral palette. Again, definitely not a unique color story, but I really just wanted to test out this formula. And I really, really like this formula. So the mattes in here are actually more like a cream to powder formula, much like the Natasha Denona cream to powders or the ones in the Charlotte Tilbury Beautyverse palette from last holiday. And I love that type of formula. These are so incredibly easy to blend, so easy to work with. They melt into one another and they end up taking a lot of the work of blending out of it for you, which I always love. So I really, really do enjoy this palette. I love working with these mattes. I think they're stunning. There are 2 shimmers in here, this shade right here and this one right here. And they're nice, but they are not the most impactful shimmers. So if you're looking for very punchy shimmers, definitely not these. But I do think it is a really beautiful everyday palette. I think it's gorgeous. Again, very high quality, gorgeous for every day. If you are just looking for something small and quick that you can use for every day, or you can throw in your purse, or you can travel with, this is an excellent, excellent option. I think this formula is fantastic. I love it. It's just the shimmers leave a little bit to be desired, but overall, I think it's a wonderful everyday palette. Coming in at number 4 is a formula I haven't had a chance to talk about yet, but they sent me a very generous PR package earlier in the month, and I have been absolutely loving their single eyeshadows. So they are currently in an empty ColourPop palette, but they're not ColourPop shadows. These are from a brand called Pastel Roses, and they reached out to me on Instagram to see if they could send me a package, and of course. So they sent me 9 stunning single shadows, and I will say July is the month that I truly learn what people are talking about when they say indie brands do eyeshadow better than anybody else. I mean, I kind of knew that just from other reviews that I've seen, other products I've tried, but this month really taught me that lesson. These are incredible. So these are so intensely sparkly and shiny and reflective, but they also have a creaminess to them that kind of makes it so that you don't get a lot of fallout, but they just look so beautiful in the eyes. They wear all day long. They don't fade or flake off throughout the day. You don't end up with glitter all over your face. I'm actually wearing one of these today. I'm wearing this one. This is the shade Rose Latte, and it is so, so pretty. It's just like a rose gold, and I love it so much. And I've been loving this formula. This is one of those indie brands, though, that I don't hear a lot of people talk about. So I don't know why that is, but these are absolutely fantastic. I have been absolutely loving these. Like I said, they're just so pretty and shiny and reflective. And if you're like me and you love a good sparkly shimmer, but you really don't want to mess with pressed glitters, these are such a good solution. Coming in at number 3 is from Natasha Denona, and this is her Mini Rose eyeshadow palette. I love this. I love a good pink color story. We all know that. The shade Psychedelic in here is one of her chroma crystal shades, so I love that. The shade Golden Rose is actually very reminiscent of NARS Orgasm. It's like a peachy pink with a gold shimmer. And then we have these 3 mattes that work beautifully with these shimmers. I will say this palette is another one that the shades are not new. So I believe Golden Rose and I think this Flamingo shade here is from one of her 28 pan palettes. The other 3 are from her retro palette. Now she has changed the finish. I believe Psychedelic is still a chroma crystal. It was a chroma crystal. That is the same. But where these mattes were cream to powders, in her retro palette they're now just regular mattes. Her formula in here is fantastic. It's a beautiful palette. I always love the looks I create with this. I was a little sad that they were all sort of repeat shades. However, I like that she played with the formulas, changed those up a little bit. She created a really, really beautiful 5-pan palette. I think this is stunning. I really, really love this one. And of course, her formula is always up to par and I'm never disappointed. So I love this one. This is definitely coming in at a strong number 3. Coming in at number 2 is from Danessa Myricks. This is the Yummy Skin Lift and Flex Concealer for face and eyes. I have shade 1, so this is the lightest one. I was so impressed with this concealer. So this is a thinner formula, so it's not too heavy under the eyes, but it still gives a really, really beautiful coverage. It does have this sort of scoop-shaped doe foot, so you don't end up getting too much product, which I also think is really, really nice. This is so weightless under the eyes. It's so blendable. It doesn't move around throughout the day, but yet it also gives minimal creasing. I mean minimal. Less creasing than even the Natasha Denona that I love so much. Now, I don't believe that there are any truly crease-proof concealers, but I do believe that there are some that are very, very minimal about it, and when they do, it's just very subtle. It's very subtle and it's nothing to worry about. You can easily just pat it out and carry on. And this is that type of concealer. This just has minimal creasing. It looks so beautiful. It's so blendable. It's so incredibly lightweight. It is so, so comfortable. I don't wear this all over the face just because the shade is actually a little bit light. I thought about going up to shade 2, but I'm worried that would be too deep. So I'm stuck with shade 1. I think it's lovely. I think the formula is great. I love the packaging. And again, I love, love, love wearing this one. I don't think it's surpassed my Natasha Denona yet, just because that Natasha Denona really cancels things out. So I do prefer the coverage level I get with that one. But I do still get a really nice amount of coverage from the Danessa Myricks. I think this is a really nice medium coverage, lightweight, easy to wear and work with concealer. I do think it's fantastic. And coming in at number 1 is another one that I have not spoken about yet. I had intended to, but it came in a little bit late. I was also working on a YouTube short, so I can at least show you some looks. And I don't know what happened to that, but this is from Blend Bunny, and this is the Longing palette. So I have never tried a palette from Blend Bunny before. And this one I actually tried just before the Pastel Roses palette. And this is the one where I thought, oh my goodness, what have I been missing out on? So this color story is so beautiful to me. Obviously you get the purples, you get a row of blue, but it's like silvery blue, so it's a much more wearable, approachable blue. Then you get all of these gorgeous, gorgeous greens. I think this palette is so beautiful. The shimmers in here are absolutely unreal, shifty, sparkly, shiny, reflective. They're absolutely unreal. The mattes in here are wonderful. They're easy to work with. They're easy to blend. They're beautiful. It's just that there is something so incredibly special about the shimmer formula in this palette. They are so opaque but shiny and reflective. And every time I wear this palette and maybe I'm editing content or I just catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror, I'm always eyeing up my eyeshadow again because I love how these look so much. I love the color story. I also love how this is laid out. I think they did an absolutely incredible job with this palette. I cannot wait to try more Blend Bunny palettes in the future. I had heard great things, but it was this color story that made me take the leap. But I have been absolutely loving this palette. And that is it. That is all of the makeup I tried in July. Like I said, there are some products I tried very recently and haven't had a chance to test out as much as I would like, so they will be rolled into August. August is going to be a busy month. I am going to be traveling, and I imagine we're going to start seeing some of those holiday releases as well. So I am very excited to see what is coming for the month of August, and I will try to stay on top of things as much as I possibly can. But that is it for me today. Thank you so very much for watching. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. What was your favorite product in the month of July? Did you try any of these that I tried out? What were your thoughts? And what did you try that you think I should? Let me know all of your thoughts down below. I love hearing from you guys so much. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!